Good morning, and once again, welcome back to the vape rooms. Today is a splendid Sunday. As always, it is easy like Sunday morning. But today, not only is it a splendid Sunday, it is also, boom, restock day. And today, obviously with it being restock day, we are going to get a few amounts. Because we're still pretty stocked, it'll probably be a small one this time around. But we will still, nonetheless, restock all your favourite bits and bobs, like your favourite kits, your favourite tanks, all the newer stuff as well. So we'll get the likes of new juices coming in, possibly. We never know. But we'll put that to one side for the minute, because today, what I'm talking to you about today, primarily, it's just different types of rebuildables. So I do get a lot of questions because I am a avid rebuilder myself. I do make my own coils, I have mech mods, so on and so forth. So I do get asked a lot of questions about them. And today is just going to be like an in general breakdown, a few sort of good examples of different types. So let's get straight to the point. So a lot of people will recognise stuff like this is just one of our sort of combo kits, that as I like to call them. They're essentially mod onlys, which you can buy separately, but we do make pairings with sub-ohm tanks, mouth-to-lung tanks, rebuildables of any kind that we find are very suitable for it. So as an example, the Aegis Legend does get topped off with the Phobia 2 RDA, and that terminology will probably spark a little bit of sort of familiarity. So you've probably heard or seen people with stuff like this. Very short, stubby tanks. Well, tanks, but have no glass. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, how does that work? Well, the clue is in the name. So with all these RDAs, RTAs, so on and so forth, they're basically abbreviations. So RDA, as an example, stands for Rebuildable Dripping Atomizer, and the clue's in the name, Dripping Atomizer. So it's essentially a tank, but it doesn't have a tank, because what you do is, let's say you're running out of juice, what you do is take top off, and obviously this is not going to have any coils in it, but let's say you've got your coils right there. All you do is plop your bit of juice on the top, plop that top cap back on, and that's good to go for about anywhere between 5 to 10 pulls, or puffs, should I say. And then, as I said, we are going to talk about the different types. So you've come across RDAs before, they're the most common, and then you get into sort of RTAs. So as an example, there is the Vape Bogan and Dovpo collaboration in the form of the Blotto RTA. So now you're thinking to yourself, okay, this looks a bit more standardised, which you'd be correct. It is a tank, it looks like a tank, but the differences get vastly sort of distant from each other when you get on the insides of them. So usually when you screw a tank apart like so, you'll usually be looking to see, oh, there's a coil, there's a base plate. Well, on RTAs, they are very, very different. So, very similar situation. Your coils do go into your builder here. So, one coil will go along like so, and the other one like so. Goes across the airflow, so on and so forth. You tuck your cotton down the sides, as you always. And instead of needing to basically drip juice on top of it every 5 to 10 puffs, all you do with these is once it's built, once it's filled up, once it's juiced up, so on and so forth, you just treat it like any normal tank from there. It's just a case of open your fill port, there's your fill port towards your tank there, and off you pop, as they say. But RTAs are practically the same as RDAs, except for me personally, I find them a little bit less hassle, mainly because you're not constantly taking the top cap off every 5 to 10 puffs, and dependent on who is using said kit, that can be quite a lot. But then you start getting into I wouldn't say the more complicated, but the more scarce side of things. So then you start entering the realm of RDTAs, which is a rebuildable dripping tank atomizer. So you're probably thinking it's a dripping atomizer, but it's also a tank atomizer. And yes, you would be thinking correctly. It is. So the differences between, say, an RDA and an RTA is RDAs don't have tanks, RTAs have tanks. RDTAs are kind of like the middle ground. So, as you can see there, I do have a tank full of juice on my Pyro RDTA, but the coils sit up top like so. And then you have your wicks dangling down into the tank, and these practically act like hoses in a sense. They pull juice from the source, which is your tank, up to your coil, feeds it, and then we get a lovely vapour. But you build it practically the same as an RDA. I'd say it's like the nice middle ground if you're wanting to learn RTAs, but you're not too certain about them as of yet. An RDTA is a nice middle ground, mainly because they work like RDAs, but they function like RTAs. But you do start getting into I wouldn't say the scarce stuff, but the nice fall in betweens. So right at the beginning, you do get stuff like your single coil RDAs. So much like the Amit here, this is a single coil RDA, and it basically just shortens down the process of building, because majority of people do use dual coil nowadays. Single coil is becoming more popular as of recent though, which I'm quite a big advocate of, because you can't go wrong with a bit of single coil action. But yeah, single coil RDAs, basically it does the same as a dual coil, except there's only one in there instead of two. So that does mean less time actually preparing yourself to get it done, less time doing it, little bit less wattage in the majority of cases, because there's not two coils in there, so it demands for less power. Hello, mate. Just had a customer walk in. I shall be back with you in a second. Do apologise about that, guys. But as I was saying, there are in-between rebuildables. So, as I was saying before about your single coils, they are very similar, but they do fall in the old RDA-RTA equation. So, single coil RDA, you've got a single coil mouth-to-lung RTA. You can also get RDAs as well. But then you also do get stuff like your single coil RTAs, not mouth-to-lung, but standard, as you can see with the giant airflow slots on the sides. But, same premise again. Much like how you see with the Blotto and the dual coil, this is basically the same thing, but instead of taking two, it takes one. It's very simple if you think about it, but I can see the point of sometimes if you're looking just to get into rebuilding and it's like you're a newbie, a lot of the terminologies can get very confusing. But it's nothing to worry about. All you have to do is sort of ask yourself the question, do I like a big lung hit, or do I prefer something a bit more restrictive? That is the question. The answers are, if you like something a bit more restrictive, something along the lines of like a mouth-to-lung RDA or an RTA would be up your alley. But if you like a bit more of a lung hit, your single but wide open RTAs, RDAs, stuff like that. So very similarly with like the Serpent Elevate and the Amit, they're all very sort of wide open, single coil RDAs, RTAs. But majority of dual coil RDAs and RTAs and even RDTAs are primarily very wide open. So if you do like your big lung hit, rather than going for a single coil, a dual coil is usually a safe bet. But that is pretty much it from me today, guys. Just a little rundown about the terminologies and the differences between rebuildables. But hopefully I'm seeing you today. If not, all well and good. Hopefully your day is filled with a lot of positivity, a lot of joy, a lot of fun, a lot of relaxation as well, because it is a Sunday. Sundays are meant for relaxing. But if I am seeing you later on today, all well and good. But until then, I will see you soon.